Welcome back. Today is October 6, 2017. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about this week, don't we? It's been a couple of weeks. Gosh, kind of a lot's happened. And I guess we'll go through some positive developments before we get into Uncle Sean losing his temper. Hi, Joe. As always, we are simulcasting live and recording so that I can broadcast this on Facebook Live, respond to your comments, and then we'll share this to YouTube later. So, first up, good news. Matador arms, folding vector adapters are in stock and going like crazy. I think Matador's really got a winner on their hands here. I get that the vector arms market is kind of limited in a lot of ways, but you know, it's a bit of a niche market, but this is a great piece. Look at how sharp that is. That's where you're going to install your buffer tube. You got the cutout so the safety can be actuated even while the stock is folded or pistol brace is folded. Tight fitment on the hinge, and the button actuates the latch. Very simple, but very sharply done. Really nice piece from Matador. These are on the website. I'll put a link in the show notes. So the other thing that's kind of exciting, Problem Solver baseball tees are in. If you pre-ordered, that means I'm packing up your order tonight after the show. They'll go out tomorrow along with anything else you ordered with your t-shirts. Got a couple other orders to pack up tonight. Pretty exciting stuff as far as all that goes. So the pre-sale price is over. Now you're going to pay full price for these shirts if you want one. And we're going to run these for another month. And then end of October, we're going to start doing hoodies and, you know, more weather appropriate stuff. So those are the fun things. Now, what kind of a week has it been? Yeah. So I guess we may as well talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room, the elephant in the room, jackass Las Vegas shooter in the room. So we know this guy did something terrible out in Las Vegas, and shot a bunch of people. And of course, the first thing that happens is everybody starts crying for gun control in one form or another. People who a week ago today couldn't tell you what a bump stock was, couldn't tell you what bump firing is, had never heard of the brand Slide Fire or Fostech or anything else. Yesterday decided they know better than the rest of us who actually use these things, and have decided that we don't need to own them anymore. What's probably blatantly obvious to anybody who reads between the lines is that they had these proposals ready and waiting, right? It's no surprise that the people who want to infringe on your rights to own firearms want to infringe on your rights all the time, and they will use tragedies and crime to advance their cause. Good, bad, or indifferent, that's the MO. So they really don't care about the loss of life. They really don't care about civil rights. They really don't care about the rule of law or how many people they will or will not save with the proposed legislation. Their goal is to advance their agenda. And that's bullshit. what's surprising is how many people I've seen, and I'm extremely disappointed in the number of people I've seen on the pro-gun side who have come out and said, we don't need those. Go ahead and ban them. Really, guys? Really? That's your response? It's disappointing on so many levels because, first of all, I listen to the same people talk about the Fudds, the hunters who don't respect that we have a right to own the AR-15, and then these same people turn around and say, oh, we don't need that, go ahead and ban it, as if the government has the right to tell you you can't own it. You basically just became a tactical FUD when you do that. So a little bit ridiculous, a lot disappointing, because that's based in the premise that the first time it's used in a crime, one time, right? We've only seen this one time, and I get that it's a tragedy, tremendous loss of life. Guy was a monster, decided to kill a bunch of people. But let's pick the low-hanging fruit and say bump stocks can go. Because it's easier to blame a thing than it is to take responsibility for a morally corrupt society that puts no value on human life. So, let me follow the logic. The people who have been fighting for the last few years that the police are excessively brutal and law enforcement is overly heavy-handed and kills people they shouldn't be killing, over the last 2 years have said Donald Trump is literally Hitler. Now think it's a good idea to give the police and Donald Trump control and power over more of your civil rights and more of your firearms. Okay. So, let's take it a step further. The NRA came out yesterday, and I haven't read all the articles because it's just too much to soak in when you've got a full-time job. My understanding is they've asked this administration to take a second look at the rules regarding bump fire stocks. Okay. Take another look. Right away, we've got people jumping to conclusions and saying, well, I'll trade bump fire stocks for national reciprocity for concealed carry. Well, that's a big if, because the people who are going to write the legislation to ban the bump fire stock hate all guns, hate concealed carry permits, hate concealed carriers, hate the NRA, hate Republicans, hate hunters, hate gun owners. So do you really think they're going to give an inch, right, on national reciprocity to take away the bump stocks? Let's take a look. Gun Control Act of 1934. How much did we get back for that? No, nothing. We just lost a bunch of stuff. Okay, how about the 1994 assault weapons ban? What did we get out of that? Oh, nothing. There was nothing offered in trade. Interesting. How about the Hughes Act? What did we get from the Hughes Act? Oh, nothing? Nothing came attached to that in our favor? Yeah, shocking. There's a pattern here, guys. Figure it the hell out. They're not going to give you anything. They're not going to give anything. They're here to take. They're takers, right? Their idea of a compromise is they ask to cut off your arm, you say no, so they go, okay, we'll compromise. I'll just cut off your hand. It's not a give-take relationship. They're not going to give you anything. Then I hear people saying, well, that's it. I'm out of the NRA. Screw the NRA. The NRA betrayed us. The NRA has asked for a review of the rules. Rules the NRA doesn't make. Rules the NRA doesn't agree with. They want the rules reviewed. But you're going to jump into right away that, oh, the NRA has betrayed us. In the meantime, you're the same people saying, we'll trade the bump stock for national reciprocity. Shut up. Let's go to your comments because I see there's a lot of people typing away furiously here. A bunch of people saying hello. My brother Jimmy's tormenting me that he knows what's in the mug. Yeah, well, it's no secret tonight, guys. Tony's here. Tony says the same legislators that couldn't come up with an alternative plan for Obamacare in 8 years have an anti-gun / anti-civil rights plan in less than 24 hours. Yeah, less than 24 hours. Here's the other thing. We're going to propose legislation before the investigation's even completed. Before the criminal investigation is even completed, we're going to propose legislation. Nice. Twerps in New Jersey want to impose a ban on something that's already banned. Thank you, Jimmy, for an excellent point. Yeah, in New Jersey, you can't have a bump stock because it's considered also an adjustable stock. So if you have more than 2 evil features, including a detachable magazine on a semi-automatic rifle, you're in violation of the law. So guess what? You can't have a bump stock already. It's already illegal. But now they're going to make it double illegal because the nitwits who don't understand the laws want to write more. And for some reason I lost my feed here on my cell phone. Bear with me, please. There we go. Justin wants to know why hasn't fertilizer been banned. He's referring to the Oklahoma City bombing, where ammonium nitrate and fuel oil was combined to make a fertilizer bomb. Oh gosh, illegally building bombs and blowing shit up and killing people is already illegal. Tony says they are a blight to the Second Amendment community. They're willing to sell us out piecemeal for the hope that no additional gun legislation gets proposed. Exactly right. Exactly right. Jimmy points out there's even more in the 1996 in the NFA. John Willett says, for what it's worth, you have a president that made promises. Let me see if I can open this up. Have a president that made promises on concealed carry reciprocity and a House of Representatives where a majority of Republicans have co-sponsored national reciprocity. You may be approaching this a bit too negatively. Okay. I may be approaching this a bit too negatively. I'm a strong Second Amendment supporter, but bump stocks need to go. Bullshit. Everything before the but is a lie. I'm a strong Second Amendment supporter, but I don't see why anyone needs military-grade firearms. Everything before the but is a lie. I'm a strong Second Amendment supporter, and I'd like to see national reciprocity, but bump stocks need to go. Everything before the but is a lie. There's a pattern here, guys. There's a pattern. My favorite was the one I saw earlier today on Facebook. I'm an absolutist on the Second Amendment, but there's no room for buts. There's no room for buts. Get your big butt out of here. It's frustrating, to say the least. And I think it's a big speculation that we're going to trade one for the other. I've heard a lot of people suggest, oh, well, that's like trading, Evan Nappen said that's like trading a fake Rolex for whatever fancy schmancy watch. Great. Great. This is how liberty dies. Because we bargain away one for the other. We make trades. Any legislation that bans a bump stock is going to be phrased in such a way that it leaves the door open to ban other things. Quite frankly, government does not have the authority to tell you you can't own an accessory for a firearm. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't care the bump stocks suck, right? It's not a great thing. It's a range toy, and this asshole used it to kill a bunch of people. It's not even that good, right? And here we are picking the low-hanging fruit and making the moral trades. All right, so here's the other thing. People are pissed off at the NRA because the NRA is willing to make that trade. Well, so are a bunch of its members. And then a bunch of the crybabies, well, I'm out of the NRA. I'm burning my NRA card. I'm not giving the NRA another penny. Okay. Let me explain. As individuals, we can stand on our principles, right? I can say, not 1 inch more. Because as an individual, I make those choices entirely for myself. The NRA is an organization that has to deal with legislation, politicians. I expect them to compromise. I expect it. I expect them to fail to some degree. Because when it really comes down to it, they're just politicians like everybody else. Right? I don't know if you know, but you elect a board to the NRA. They're elected officials. They run for office. Right? They run for those seats to be on the board. They make those decisions. You vote for them. You ever hear the expression, you get the government you deserve? Well, guess what? You get the NRA you deserve too. So no, I'm not burning my membership. I'm not rescinding my membership. I'm not quitting the NRA. Because the NRA has elections too. And those board members are going to hear about this. And those board members are going to have to pay for this. Hi, baby. Mm-hmm. Elections have consequences, right? We elected tactical Fudds that are willing to trade the bump stock. And I've heard people say this is not the hill to fight to the death on. Screw you. Are 30-round magazines the hill to fight to the death on? Because you lost those in New Jersey. 15-round magazine capacity. Right? How about stay involved in the NRA, and when you have the opportunity to elect people to the board, you vote for people like Adam Kraut. You vote for some of these new people who aren't Fudds, and understand that even the stupid accessories need to be protected. Let me say that again. Even the stupid things need to be protected. The things nobody really cares about, the things nobody really uses that much, the things nobody really likes. Because it's just as important as the big stuff when it comes to incremental infringement of your civil right to own a firearm. Okay. Angelo says, liberty dies to thunderous applause. Justin shall not be infringed. Well, I'm glad somebody gets it, because this is exactly the infringement they were talking about. Tony says, the option is to stick by your guns and don't compromise your rights. There is no compromise because the game plan is to disarm you completely. Bump stocks are not the issue. The issue is to not let them start banning accessories. There it is. Tony gets it. Jimmy says, New Jersey banning the bump stock and anything that increases your rate of fire. Wave bye-bye to 2-pound trigger pulls. Sure. So that's part of one of the proposed bills, is that the firearm cannot be modified to fire faster than it is designed by the manufacturer. So guess what? Your rifle came equipped with a 9-pound trigger. Now you go to a 7.5-pound trigger. You're in violation of the law. This would effectively eliminate aftermarket triggers by just giving up the bump stock. Goodbye aftermarket triggers. You guys are dense if you don't get it. They're not ending at bump stocks. They're never satisfied. They never stop. They never back off. They don't get tired. They just keep coming. It's like the Terminator. It's ridiculous. Rachel says hi to April. Everybody say hi to April. I know everybody loves her more than me. That's fine. Go ahead and click the little thing on the screen so the hearts come up for April. Dan says, I'm hoping the NRA goal is to say they will recommend a review, knowing the ATF will come up with the same ruling as current. Makes sense to me. Well, here's the other thing. Bump stocks came up for review under the ATF during the Obama administration. So if we want to play the political game, we can say bump stocks were approved by the Obama administration. Whose fault is this really? Nobody's smart enough to do that. That requires thinking more than the last 15 minutes. We have to stretch that plan out a little bit more. Turn this thing back on its head, since the world is going to be upside down. Angelo says, someone give an option. I don't get to give up. But what is the collective argument that everyone can get behind? It could eliminate all accessories. That's really what we're opening ourselves up to, is the elimination of aftermarket accessories for your firearms. Bump stocks the first. Then it's going to be collapsible stocks. Then it's going to be aftermarket handguards. The shoulder thing that goes up. How about vertical grips? Are we willing to give up vertical grips? They've fallen out of fashion. Can we ban those now that they're not popular? Stupid. Everybody's using the AFG, the angled foregrip. It's better. It's better. Well, guess what? When you let go of the vertical grip, you let go of the bipod because you can hold the bipod like a vertical grip. So bye-bye bipods. So now we've lost bump stocks, aftermarket triggers, vertical grips, bipods, collapsible. Like, figure it out, guys. It's not going to stop at this. You have to fight every single one. You have to fight every single one. Jimmy says, here's the option. Stop falling for the world's greatest magic act. The government is doing nothing more than a bunch of fancy sleight of hand to completely distract you from what is truly important. Angelo says, second order thinking and the unintended consequences is beyond most arguments. Tony says, then it'll be suppressors, optics, and pistol grips. Yeah, if you saw the articles they're printing over in the UK, where they've already given up their rights as if they ever had any, if it pleases the crown. There was an article posted today breaking down all the weapons the shooter in Las Vegas had, and they were so terrible. I encourage you to seek this out because it is the greatest pile of dog shit I have seen in a long, long time. The Daniel Defense M4 is chosen by military units around the world. Daniel Defense makes a pretty great rifle. Pretty sure it's not issued to anybody. The FNX-15, whatever the hell that is, had several of those, capable of firing accurate shots out to 1,080 yards. It's a freaking 5.56, guys. How many of you are shooting that over 1,000 yards? Get out of here. SIG rifles. That was the entire explanation. SIG rifles. Also capable of accurate fire out to over 1,000 yards. Shut up. Optics. To make it easier to hit targets at long ranges. Well, no shit. Jimmy says, then lasers, grip tape, and anything that helps you change mag faster. Yeah, that's how this works. They get that ball rolling. They get that first domino. Bump stocks. And then everything else falls behind it. You remember the slippery slope argument from the 80s? You remember? Remember, berries, remember? This is what they were warning you about. John says to slip some coffee in the mug. Shut up, John. I love you, but shut up. No, we're not switching to coffee now. And I may pour a second one. Deal with it. I'm mad. I'm allowed to be mad. I'm pissed off. And I'm pissed off at our side. The government never takes responsibility for failing us in the first place. They tell you that if you give up just one more right, you'll be safe next time. Thank you, Tony, for hammering that one down. Statistically, there's something like 20,000 gun laws on the books at this point. 20,000. Where are all you hard dicks about shall not be infringed? 20,000 infringements already exist. But this'll be the one that keeps us all safe. Nothing bad will ever happen again if we just ban the bump stocks. Get real. Jimmy's over here poking the bear. My little brother says, and then enter the smart gun. Yeah, the only upside to the smart gun, Jimmy, is that Loretta Weinberg, in her eagerness to get that hammered out, screwed up Royal and said as soon as it comes to market. Well, guess what? At least we stand unified on that, and we're not letting them come to market. John says, love you too, Sean. They say in our first rodeo, you'd feel better if you took a break in the immediate aftermath. That's what I did. Yeah, guess what? We don't get a chance to take a break, John. We don't get a chance to take a break because the opposition never takes a break. Right? I get it. And I'm hating the back and forth between John Correa from Active Self-Protection and Andrew Branca right now. It sucks. I hate the fact that they're going at each other's throats, but I get it. Like, I get it from both sides. John wants cooler heads to prevail. He wants to let the information come out and base our argument on facts. That's rational. That's what our side is supposed to do, right? We're supposed to be the rational ones in the argument. We're supposed to be the ones with facts behind us. And basically, you need to give law enforcement the opportunity to conduct the investigation and find out what actually happened. Andrew Branca, Andrew, if you're watching, you're also a jerk because of the way you talk to people. You're not making any friends. But Andrew Branca is also right in that you can't sit silent for 3 days because it lets the other side steer the narrative. And then we end up with a ban on bump fire stocks. So there you are. And here's my brother. Okay. And then enter the unknown disable signal that police and military can use in an instant. He's still on the smart gun technology. Angelo says, I think we all need a range day. Yeah, bud. Yeah, we do. And guess what? It's not happening in Jersey. You guys are all invited out to the free side of the Delaware River. And guess what? We're breaking out bump fire stocks. We're breaking out AR pistols. We're breaking out full capacity magazines. And we're having some real freedom for a change. Because I know, especially you guys in New Jersey, really need a taste of that. So you can understand why the oppression and tyranny you live under every day is so freaking ridiculous, and why you shouldn't tolerate one more inch of that crap. Listen, guys. Banning bump fire stocks is allowing the other side to play just the tip with your civil rights. Stop it. Tony says he took a 3 or 4 day break, came back just in time to watch so-called 2A advocates want to sell us out. There it is. Alexander says, I have Monday off. I'm game. Guess what, Alexander? If I can get permission from the wife, because it is what it is, we're making this happen. We'll find a spot and we're doing this. It's freaking game on, because I'm just tired. I'm tired. Jimmy's cracking jokes. Okay, so the other thing that kind of sucked about this week is we were supposed to have another Second is for Everyone diversity shoot up at Gun for Hire Range in Woodland Park. Unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond anyone's control, Anthony had to cancel the event, let Tony know. Tony put it on blast all over social media, told everybody he could reach that we were not having this one, and that's the one that my darling little brother decided to attend and didn't get the memo that it was canceled. So I get a text message from Gun for Hire Range with a picture of an empty room going, where are you guys at? Sorry, Jimmy. Figures. But it is what it is. So, yeah, my brother showed up for the event that was canceled. And then our other friend, James, who's been out to a couple of events, also showed up. So it must be in the name James that you just don't get the memo. Alexander says, she who must be obeyed. We call her Swambo. S-W-A-M-B-O. Right. She who must be obeyed. Angelo just renewed his membership at Easton. Angelo, that's not going to be an option, and I'll explain that to you later after the show. Jimmy gets out of work at 2:30. Dan says, April, it's okay. You can let Sean out on Monday. Everybody says so. So now they're teasing April, trying to get her attention to let me get out and get some trigger time. Yeah. Yeah. Jesus. April, right now you're being my mother reincarnated. You know that? She's yelling from the other room. They gonna come help you do chores? So there you have it. If I can get on a day pass, we'll go exercise some freedoms. November 30th, we will have a 2A4E diversity shoot at Gun for Hire. November 6th, we will have a diversity shoot in Garden State Shooting Center in Lakewood, New Jersey. So there's 2 more. Your makeup diversity shoot at Gun for Hire and a new event at a new location. Check it out, guys. Tony is busting his butt to make sure it grows and grows and grows and grows. It's 45 minutes. That's enough of me losing my temper, guys. Hit me up with questions at this point. Let me know what you want to hear. What else I need to rant about while I hit the sauce a little bit harder. Angelo is volunteering to drive the group down to Lakewood from his place in Hunterdon. So if you're in Hunterdon County and you're interested in the November 6th event at Garden State Shooting Center, reach out to Angelo. Maybe we can carpool. Jimmy, you're a jerk. He says, I'll be at Lakewood. Please don't cancel. Literally the first diversity shoot ever canceled in 3 years, and that's the one my little brother decides to show up for. Oh, Jimmy, you're a special case. All right, guys. Now's your chance to voice your comments, concerns, opinions, questions, all those things. Tony wants to know, what's the next BBR class at Range 14? Well, I can't tell you what the next class is because I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it's shotgun, and that's in November. But on October 22nd, and you heard it here first, there's going to be the last open to the public Minuteman Challenge at Range 14. October 22nd, Sunday, October 22nd. Sunday, October 22nd is the last Minuteman Challenge of 2017 open to the public. Why is he being specific about open to the public? Because the next one after that is for chip holders only. Tournament of Champions? I think so. October 22nd. You can register at blackbagresources.com. We'll create the event on Facebook and let you get hooked up that way. All right. Rachel wants to know, did anyone besides me love the latest Gun for Hire broadcast? Yeah, absolutely. And I can't wait for the next one because apparently they're going to dig into that little punk from NJ2AS some more. Yeah. I'm going to come right out and say it. Nobody else wants to mention names for some reason, but I'm going to say Alexander Rubian. Yeah, president of NJ2AS. Has been a thorn in the side of the New Jersey Second Amendment community. You're supposed to be on our side, dude. And you're being a pest. Because you got to pick fights with everybody. It's not productive. Not everybody's going to agree with you. Look, all right, let me break it down for you. Right? Here's how you get the most bang for your buck out of every New Jersey 2A group. Follow me. Ready? Here it is. You start as a new shooter. Welcome to the community by going to the Second is for Everyone diversity shoot. And you learn that your civil rights are yours regardless of race, creed, color, religion, sexual orientation, or political affiliation. You have Second Amendment rights. And you get exposed to some of the groups in New Jersey working to help you. From there, maybe you'll join ANJRPC, the Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs, or maybe you'll join the Coalition of New Jersey Firearms Owners. Two great groups. ANJRPC also has direct ties to NRA, the National Rifle Association. CNJFO's goal is to eliminate, or at least raise awareness to, justifiable need in the state of New Jersey, which is the nearly impossible standard to get a concealed carry permit. You might also join NJ2AS, the New Jersey Second Amendment Society. Alexander, his goal is salacious headline grabbing. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not. It's good in that he kind of shocks the system when he goes after politicians, when he goes undercover and talks to law enforcement, when he goes after people. He's kind of a little rabid Wolverine. Sometimes you need that. There's a place for that. The problem is he needs to stop attacking the other groups. Focus on our opposition and not pissing on the shoes of the other organizations in this fight who are doing their jobs. ANJRPC, for example. For some reason, Alexander's got a real hard-on for the NRA and the ANJRPC. Because I guess they're not on board with what he does. Guess what? They don't have to be. Do you. You do you. And they'll do what they do. All the behind-the-scenes work in Trenton, in the legislature, in coordination with NRA ILA. Here's a thought. And everybody can work on their own piece of the puzzle without pissing in each other's boots. It's very simple, isn't it? And we can all cooperate, can't we? In addition to that, you've got national groups like the National Rifle Association, the Second Amendment Foundation, GOA, Gun Owners of America. These are all great groups to join. Spend your money where you see fit. But, you know, throw them a couple of bucks because they need that. It takes money to keep the wheels turning. I don't know if people understand that, but money's kind of the lifeblood of how these things work. Fred Young is here booing me. Hi, Fred. Jimmy wants to know if Dan Ingram picked up batteries yet. No. He responds. Jimmy has some choice comments for Alexander. And John Farmer says, hey, Sean, how's it going? Hey, John. Thanks for tuning in. You might want to rewind and listen to the angry part of the program. John Willett says, could you repeat the last couple of minutes? I got distracted. John, Booby, you're being a nudge. So here's the thing. Everybody has their piece of the puzzle to work on. Tony brings new people in. Great. And then he feeds them to the other organizations, right? ANJRPC does a lot of work in Trenton, in the legislative part of the process. That's good. CNJFO does a lot of community outreach. That's good. Alexander Rubian exposes corrupt politicians. That's good. NRA fights on a national level. Sometimes they screw up, but for the most part, that's good. What we don't need is Alexander Rubian shitting on the other organizations. Pretty simple formula, isn't it? All right. Everybody's saying hello to each other. I love the love fest that goes on in the comments section here because you guys are all happy to see each other. So, there you go. And, you know, it's my show. I'll say what I want. For those of you who don't know, yes, I'm drinking alcoholic beverages. All firearms and ammunition have been removed from the immediate area for safety. You don't mix guns and alcohol. All right, guys. Very, very frustrating. Jimmy says, speaking of Die Hard, if you're not part of the problem, then if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. Stop being part of the effing problem. He's quoting Die Hard. Yeah, absolutely. Farmer says, me too. Me too to what, Farmer? October 22nd, Minuteman Challenge at Range 14. Yeah, in case you weren't paying attention 7 minutes ago when I mentioned that, October 22nd at Range 14, we are doing the last 2017 open to the public Minuteman Challenge. Register now. This is your last chance to win one of the most coveted trophies in all of firearm shooting sports. The Minuteman Challenge poker chip. So, get one of those chips, and that's your invite to the next event that's probably happening in November. We're not real sure just yet. But you got to be in it to win it, right? So there you go. So what did we cover tonight? Super sweet products from Matador Arms. Yes, I sell these. There will be a link in the comments. Super sweet Vector adapter from Matador Arms that totally kicks ass and they're selling like crazy. There's just a couple of these left on hand. So order now. If you wait, you might get caught in the backlog and get stuck waiting for the next order to come in. It is what it is. Other cool thing, Problem Solver baseball tees are in. Thank you for those of you who pre-ordered. You've got a couple of weeks left to get these before they are gone, baby. Gone forever. And they're in this great black and gray motif. I think this looks really sharp. I think it came out really nice. And Chappie, my t-shirt guy, did a hell of a job. Andrew, who does the artwork, this is an absolute winner. So those are some products you need to hit up. Exclusive to blackbagresources.com. Very disappointed in the Second Amendment community being so willing to give up on bump stocks, not understanding that this is exactly the kind of incremental infringement our forefathers warned us about, and opens us up to banning all kinds of crap further down the road. Especially since the common theory is that it's a trade, when our opposition has never traded us anything in the past. But this time it'll be a trade. You sound like a bunch of suckers. Diversity shoots November 6th down at Garden State Shooting Center. And then another one at the end of the month, November 30th, up at Gun for Hire in Woodland Park. The home of the Second is for Everyone diversity shoots. Let me see what else we got here. The phone's not cooperating. Jimmy wants to participate in the Minuteman Challenge. We'll hook you up, Jimmy, if you want to give it a shot. The rarest prize in shooting sports is the Minuteman Challenge poker chip, says Tony Simon. Yeah, there you go. Those are the important comments so far. And yes, you can support more than one Second Amendment group in the state of New Jersey. Figure it out, guys. One feeds the next one, feeds the next one. And we can all cooperate. We can all work together. Doesn't have to be a pissing contest. Here's the other thing I've found, is the guy who starts the dick measuring contest is usually the guy who loses. We'll leave it at that. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you being here as always, spending a Friday night with me and my ramblings at the Black Bag Resources Friday night brain dump. Bye, Felicia.